Hello, hello, hello. My name is Dustina. This is Spiritually Boujee Astrology, and we're going to take a look at the astrological transits of May 26th through June 1st. Now, before we do any type of recap, breakdown, or anything like that, I want to remind everybody now that it is Gemini season, it is my season, babies. And how do we celebrate my season? How are we celebrating my birthday? With BOGO readings, specifically on the 90-minute sessions. I actually didn't say that last week, and I do apologize, but I wanted to let everybody know that that is now active on the website. I didn't send out an email blast last week, but I wanted to go ahead and show everybody now today. So if you go to the website, www.thespirituallyboujee.com, go to astrological services. Once you are here, there's a couple different things available, but if you go look for BOGO readings, Gemini season special, you can book two 90-minute sessions for the price of one. Now, I do always suggest that if you're going to do the BOGO readings, like put a good gap in between them, schedule one in June and another one in July. Capitalize on this as a way to like get ready for the next Mercury retrograde and eclipse season that's going to be coming up. But this is the best deal that you will get all year, is getting these two 90-minute sessions for $35 a piece. So again, BOGO special is live through Gemini season. Remember, it's my birthday, so this is the way that we celebrated BOGO on readings. Now, okay. Over the course of last week, we had some planets change signs. Now, at the time that I'm recording this on Saturday afternoon. Not all the planets that we're about to talk about have changed signs yet, but I got to admit, the downloads have been very, very wild over the weekend. And I'm not ready to talk about all of them because I know there's a couple more things that need to come through. But the energy wave of what I have seen already really showcases how interesting this summer is going to be. But it is the arrival of one of these planets that is making the big indicator as to how the summer is going to go. It is the informational change of another of the three planets that is giving us perspective as to how much is going to unfold between now and the next eclipse season. Those two planets, Saturn and Mercury. Over the weekend, Saturn moved into Aries. The other thing that happened over the weekend is Mercury hit a conjunction to Uranus. So we had some very unexpected, for some people, exciting news, shifts in information, things that kind of like really tilted something and altered something and gave a fresh perspective as to what we need to start focusing on coming through this week. This entire week that we're going to be going through is, again, the arrival of new information, new conversations, new topics, new files, new people, new contracts, new transactions, new commitments. There is a newness taking shape all week, especially at the beginning of the week. Now, again, over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, Saturn went into Aries. On Sunday, Mercury went into Gemini. But the way that we start this week is a new moon in Gemini. So the new is going to be encompassing a lot of the entire week. New moons usually mean new beginnings, but this is a new moon in Mercury sign, right as Mercury landed home, right as Mercury was entering its own sign. New information, new topics, new ideas based off of all of the shifts that have been put into motion throughout the last part of April and all of May. This is the last full week of May. Whenever we go through this week, we are really solidifying, again, where we are at in the new normal. We're getting on more solid ground. We got an idea of where our footing is. We understand the certain steps that we have made, the decisions that we have made that has put us into this vibration. A lot of this week is wrapping our head around the new topics, the new information, the new contracts, the new things. And that really comes down to if we are going through more mercurial activations. But if you're going through something tied to Saturn, it is new rules, It is new laws. It is new judgments. It can still be new commitments, but this feels a little bit more harsh because it's Saturn. Saturn in Aries is going to want a certain amount of control and power and willing to take certain martial actions. He's going to fight for it a little bit more. There can be a lot more stress and pressure and judgment and ferocity, things that trigger fear. A little bit more of a militant vibration whenever it comes to people in positions of power and control. Now, some of you are going to see that difference in another person. Are you going to see it all immediately? No. We are at the start of a vibration that is going to take on the entire summer. I am about to do a podcast episode specifically on the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, but I want to be clear. I have had to go through about 400 years of history notes and compile them together in my quote, quote, abundant free time. It's not abundant. And there's going to be a lot of things that ring true and make sense as to what we're dealing with in the human perspective and that collective real world effect. And there's a lot of things that are going to start to really take shape this week, both in the collective sense, but also in where we are in the vibration, in the energy. There will be new responsibilities. Some of you have chosen your responsibility, chose the new part of your routine. Some of you are being judged, and you're dealing with the levels of judgment and that level of fierceness and frustration and stress and pressure. And if you're dealing with that side, it is more Saturnian. And some people can be very deluded as to like whether this is the right thing or not. Some are going to be very fueled by beliefs that this is where I'm supposed to be. Others are not seeing the world clearly because the thing is, Saturn, now that he is in Aries, he is now at the closest point in the sky to Neptune that he has been in many, many years. And over the course of the summer, he's just going to get closer. Hot girl summer. It's very different. But the newness that has come throughout the month of May is now setting something into shape. It is now being spoken about more freely. It is now being talked about. It is now being voiced. It is now being communicated. It is now being marketed. For some people, you are dealing with literally a job. You are doing something different in a store. You have opened a business. You've started a partnership. You've invented something. You've done something like this. And now that you've reached a certain level, it's time to step it up a notch. And Saturn's entry into Aries is the stepping it up a notch and feeling compelled to take certain actions. That it is time, because the other thing is Saturn rules time. All of this week, though, is like the showcasing vibration of the arrival. And it is going to be setting the stage as we go into June. And June is its own beast. I've said for a long time, once we got through all the retrogrades, that is going to be like wonky sea leg situations, those last 2 weeks of April, going through May, trying to get accustomed to the new normal. Now that we're almost to the end of May, we are far more aware of what our new normal is going to be. The delays from before have finally taken shape. We know what we didn't know before. We see things clearly. We've ended certain commitments, ended certain conversations. We've released ourselves from certain people. And now we have put ourselves into alignment with something different, something new. A lot of this week is a voicing, singing it from the rooftops. Hark ye, herald angels sing. Hear ye, hear ye. There's news. There's communication. There's a shift in opinion. based off of the judgment, based off of the ruling, based off the partnership, based off the law, based off the verdict. It's going to be a very loud week. Be a great time for like old fashioned newsboys, by the way, like on every single corner. This is going on. I don't know why, but that's kind of suddenly what I was picturing is like newsboys on like an old fashioned milk crate going, here, yeah, hit your paper. News, the communication, the information, minds are going to be busy. Mouths are going to be busy. Oh, God. From a Gemini, by the way, mouths are going to be busy. It's going to be loud, boisterous, determined, driven as we go through this week. And so many of us, we are dealing with the new information that literally came through just over the last few weeks. The new reality. So much of where we're at in the new normal was a transition through the month of May. And now that Saturn is in Aries, Aries is the first zodiac sign. It is the start. It is the new. Some of us are going into this new, not seeing everything clearly, being very clouded by certain decisions, feeling compelled and forced to make decisions that you didn't want to make before because you don't like change, and I make fun of you for it. Fixed signs, I make fun of you for it. Now where we're going, now where the vibration is, now where the topics are, there's something being much more known and expressed all throughout this week. So let's get into the transits. Let's get into Monday, because Monday's a little busy. Monday's got a lot going on. But a lot of it is like lunar transits for the most part. And Monday is the new moon in Gemini. So, but we're not quite there yet. Actually, at the start of the day, the moon is still going to be in Taurus. So I've got this started at 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., the moon is going to make a conjunction to Uranus. Something unexpected, something very, very bold, something very, very brazen. There has been a momentum in the vibration, given the fact that last week we had that Venus-Mars trine go exact. We're still kind of in the carryover of that. Over the weekend, again, Mercury and Saturn both change signs, bringing in new topics, new responsibility, new things. Some people on Monday, they don't know the new until you tell them. They wake up to something unexpected. They get some kind of news. We get some type of email. We see some type of unexpected communication. We see something different on the social media, all the little. We get some kind of unexpected email. And it kind of like rattles us awake, rattles us in some type of way, excites us in others. But there can be something very, very unexpected first thing in the morning, Monday morning. Now, this is Memorial Day. It is a holiday here for us here in the States. Some people are not going to like the unexpected wake-up call. It is what it is. Just know it's coming. Now, as the day progresses, the moon is going to go into Gemini. Now, this is going to go exact at 12:22 p.m. Central Standard Time. But as soon as it goes into Gemini, it immediately starts a vibration, because you can see the moon goes immediately into a sextile from Saturn. Saturn changed signs over the weekend. Mercury changed signs over the weekend. The moon coming into this area can be the follow-up of whatever unexpected news came through between Saturday and Sunday. The unexpected judgment, the unexpected gossip, the unexpected conversation, the unexpected invoice, the unexpected transaction, the unexpected. And there's some part of Monday that can feel like a follow-up from what happened over the weekend. That can be good, that can be bad. But as soon as the moon goes into Gemini, we're in new moon vibration. Gemini is a bridging sign. It is a mutable sign. There is a shift in topics, conversations, opinions that is coming through. And as soon as the moon arrives, it starts. It will last the entire time the moon is in Gemini. That's going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But as we go through the week, that moon in Gemini will be a new moon vibration the entire time. That means the entirety of the first part of this week is bringing new thoughts, new conversations, new topics, new transitions, new people, new commitments, news, period. Be aware of that. Be open-minded to the new coming through. Don't resist. It's time. Okay. And considering again, Saturn in that sextile to the moon, Saturn ruling time and karma, it's time. Because that's the first thing that happens. Saturn hits that sextile to the moon. Now, that's going to be the most exact between 11:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. So, like I said, we'll be feeling it before the moon changes signs because the range is going to be there. But as soon as the moon does change signs, we are going to feel it. And some people are going to be feeling it's time to say certain things. And that's a big part of this topic. Now, as we get into the afternoon, it gets very, very interesting because some of the energy, some of the topics, some of the things that get said might leave people feeling very, very confused, feeling a little emotional, a little nostalgic in a more positive sense, inspired in a positive sense, or it can be a lie. Oh, yeah. What is that kind of thing? We got a couple things going on all simultaneously. And I've got this now at 3:30 because this actually has one of them exact, but the moon is involved as well. Now, Neptune is going to go through a sextile to Mercury. It is exact from 3:27 to 3:37 p.m. Between 2:30 and 4:30, the moon is going to be involved no matter what. So you can still see the moon is here too. Neptune will sextile the moon right as the moon is hitting that conjunction to Mercury. And there could be a ping pong effect of certain things being said, not being completely clear, being in a little bit of disbelief, being a little bit of confusion based off of the news and the information that is being provided, based off of the decisions that are being said. Some people, the harsh call, the unexpected call from the morning can literally lead you into an effect of talking to authority figures by the afternoon and being very confused as to why we are in a situation that we are in. For other people, it is the news and the conversation coming from the elder, Saturn being the elder, that is leading to the confusion as to like how the treatments are going to go, what we're going to do from here, what the topics are going to be, how the medicine is going to be. And there can be some things that, again, that speak to levels of confusion, of not seeing everything clearly and needing maybe an outside input whenever the moon gets involved so quickly. Like, I've never even dealt with this before. You're sick with what? I'm going to call my friend. My friend is a nurse. My friend is a doctor. My friend is this. I'm going to talk to them and see what they say. And when the moon gets involved, it's like that third party going, hey, grandma said she's feeling this way. This is what's going on. This is what I heard. This is what I got told. And it's pulling someone in to get extra details, to get extra information, to get extra emphasis. So that way we don't stay in the confusion. But there's news, communication, certain things being said. Not everybody's going to like it. It is what it is. We're going to keep going. The afternoon can be either nostalgic, inspired, confusing, fueled, depending on how it lands. It really depends on how the Neptune vibration is doing. It can be very harsh for some people, or it can be very foggy for others. Be aware of where you're at Monday afternoon, because it is potentially big for downloads, given the fact that Moon and Mercury are both involved. And it can lead to the conversations that will happen later in the evening when the new moon actually perfects. We're going to keep this going. This energy is going to be felt the most exact between 2:30 and 4:30 as we continue throughout the afternoon between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m. So I got it at 6:30. Pluto, 3 degrees, 42 minutes, is going to go through a trine with the moon. Some of us had some very triggering conversations about past situations, past power struggles, the identification of a past situation coming back up. Some of us have had a plumbing issue. I've got to keep bringing up the Pluto plumbing issue thing because I've actually had this happen now in my real life. And it can be something about the plumbing issue in the most mundane sense. For other people, it's going to be about a power struggle. For other people, it's going to be about personal transformation, a past transformation, a past struggle, a past insight, feeding into the vibration that is starting to take shape. Because again, we're focusing on the new moon that is building all throughout the day. Now, as we continue, the new moon is going to go exact at 10:02 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will feel this vibration the most exact between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m. So I got this at 9:30. You can see here's the moon, 5 degrees, 45 minutes. Here's the sun, 6 degrees, 4 minutes. We're just before it actually goes exact, because it goes again exact again at 10:02 p.m. Now, I'm not going to break this down by sign. You guys know I'm going to do a different video for the new moon. But so much of the vibration of the entire month has led to this shift of information. And for some people, once we get into the evening time, based off of whatever happened over the weekend, whatever new information has come through, whatever judgment has come through, whatever has been said about the elder, whatever responsibility that has been spoken, whatever judgment that has come through, whatever that has been professed, whatever it has been, clear or not, it leads to a new idea in the evening time. Now, this new moon does not feel crazy by itself because it is so late in the evening time, but I feel like we have this chain effect of little things all throughout the day that leads to like an epiphany. Now, considering later this week, we will also have a Mercury Cazimi. There is parts of this week that leads to further things, further information, and further debuts. So be aware of what topics are coming through throughout the course of Monday, because there is the next round of shift very much happening, being expressed and spoken about. Continuing. Okay. After the new moon perfects, we're in the vibration all night. We will be in new moon energy all throughout the moon in Gemini, but there's nothing else direct happening to Monday. So now we're going to get into the Tuesday. We're going to get into the 27th. Now, all in all, there's not a whole lot of direct transits. It's not nearly as active as we were on Monday, but there is still big energy kind of happening. And the first one is going to happen right around lunchtime. So I want to get this to 12:30 because that's going to be the closest. Okay, 12:30. This is when Pluto, 3 degrees, 41 minutes, is going to go through a trine with Mercury. What happened the day before between the moon Mercury conjunction and then that afternoon whenever Pluto hit the trine to the moon? This feels like the next form of communication. This feels like we're getting some type of topic, some type of information, some type of commitment. We are expressing something, or somebody is saying their piece regarding a past commitment, a past power struggle about something that has changed, given the fact that Pluto can be a very weighted vibration. Pluto is in Saturn's sign, and Saturn just changed signs. So part of the new confirmation of new information here can also have to do with that new, based off of Saturn changing signs. And there can be tension. There can be an argument here. It doesn't have to be an argument. Most of the time, trines aren't necessarily argumentative. But considering we had so much new within such a short period of time, some people can't handle that much new. And we can say something that can trigger other people. And this right here feels like the trigger time of conversation. If it wasn't the day before when the moon was in the trine to Pluto, it could actually be here. Okay, moving this along. Between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, the moon is going to hit a sextile to Mars. So I got this at 6:30. Here's the moon, 18 degrees, 53 minutes. Here is Mars, 18 degrees, 55. We are right there. Now, the moon is in the higher authority. It is not pushing because it's a sextile. It's offering information. It's giving direction. Mars is driven. Mars is motivated. Mars is now hosting Saturn. Something new has come through in the new moon's vibration. And that new information, the new topics, the new decision gives motivation. And a lot of this energy speaks to a motivation, direction, supportive direction. It does not have to be heavy. It does not have to be completely disruptive. Can it lead to disruption later in the week? Absolutely. In this moment, is it leading to disruption? Not really. But it can give direction to a future agreement, future topics, future decisions that are going to come through. And it can still, again, offer something new in the direction because of how much has just changed signs. Keeping this going as we get into the evening time. Between 9:30 and 11:30 p.m., so I got this now at 10:30, Venus is going to hit a sextile to the moon. Now, Venus is also in Mars' sign. Venus is ready to defend herself. Venus is motivated. Venus is taking actions. Venus is charging forward, giving ambition, giving desire, giving drive, giving direction, telling people what she's doing. There's no fear and no judgment for Venus right now. This is the goddess of love working with Mars's tools. So it's like watching Xena, warrior princess. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And a lot of her vibration speaks to this right now. I'm working on this. I'm doing this. And it's like just telling people this is what I'm up to. This is how it's going. Posting that picture of the girl in the gym going, look at my gains. Look at my gains. Look at where I'm at. Look at what I've done. Look at my accomplishment. You can do this too. It can have direction to it. If you work like me, if you do this like me, you can have similar results. And that level of direction can be coming through as Venus, it's the sextile to the moon. After this, there ain't a whole lot else. Everything else is just kind of in motion. We're going to get into Wednesday. Now, the moon is going to be in Gemini until about lunchtime. So we're still dealing with the moon in Gemini between 4:30 and 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I got this now at 5:30. Chiron is going to hit a sextile to the moon. This is in the overnight hours. Some of us are going to be waking up the next morning with an idea, with an epiphany, with some type of information as to what a solution could be. You might have got direction for the solution the night before, the fix, how we fix something. This is not heavy. Chiron's vibration is not normally heavy. It is either offering a solution or it is addressing a wound. Considering he is direct and he's in new territory, this feels like a solution right now. It doesn't necessarily feel like we're having to talk about a wound. That might come up later in the week, but at this moment, we don't feel like we're talking about a wound. This feels like a solution. Waking up Wednesday morning, feeling like I've got an idea, I've got a solution. I need to talk to someone that gives me more guidance. I want to run this idea by someone else and figure out what they would think, get their perspective, get their approval based off of how the rest of the day is going to go. Now, between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, so I got this now at 8:30, the moon is going to hit a conjunction to Jupiter. So right here you have Jupiter at 27 degrees, 13 minutes. The moon is 27:31. This was closer to exact around 8 a.m., but I always give a 2-hour window. Jupiter is the doctor, the guru, the teacher. This is the last planet for the moon to aspect before the moon goes void. So we can get some type of news, again, from the doctor, the guru, the teacher, getting the guidance. We have an idea of how to fix something. We go talk to somebody that knows more than us. Now, some of us are not going to necessarily like their response. Some of us are going to get a green light here and just move forward with whatever we need to work on, move forward with the treatment, move forward with whatever is necessary. And later on, we're going to have something a little bit harsh hit us when the moon changes signs. But this right here doesn't all in all feel harsh, but it can lead to a certain round of support. Now, what is interesting is this will be the last time that the moon and Jupiter hit a conjunction in Gemini. The next time these two hit a conjunction, it's going to be in Cancer. So this can instigate an emotional closeout idea that takes shape over the course of the next few weeks, even if in the moment it doesn't feel like a closeout. It could still just feel like guidance, but this is the last moon Jupiter conjunction because on June 9th, Jupiter is going to change signs. So this can give guidance to something that we're going to do for the last time, even if we don't realize it in the moment, just to be clear. Okay. At 12:33 p.m. Central Standard Time, the moon is going to go into Cancer. And as soon as it enters Cancer, it is going to go through a square from Saturn. Now, the moon in Cancer is in its home sign, but there can be the development of new information, new things that we need to take care of, new triggers to our emotions and what's going on around us. Now, this is the first square, Saturn's first square to the moon. As soon as the moon changes signs, boom, there's the elder, there's the authority figure, there's the government, there's some type of rule, some type of law, some type of judgment, something about timing, the new timing of something. And there can be something that sets the stage again for things that we're going to be dealing with in June. As soon as the moon goes into Cancer, there can be that shift of something new that needs to take shape. And not everybody's going to like the new once the moon goes into Cancer, because it can also be new emotions coming up to the surface, just as much as it can be something new that we need to take care of, new that we need to work through. But there's a nurturing process to the moon being in Cancer. But whenever it goes into this new sign and immediately hits a square, that can feel very, very harsh and blindsiding for some people. So as we go into Wednesday, that very first square, this is going to be Wednesday afternoon, this can have a harsh judgment for a lot of people that really sets the emotional stage for how the moon in Cancer is going to go. And that's going to be the second half of Wednesday, all of Thursday, and most of Friday. So be aware of that first harsh judgment, that first harsh reaction, that first harsh piece of information when the moon goes into Cancer Wednesday afternoon. Some people, it's not going to sit well. It's going to ruffle some feathers, and I'm making you aware of that. Again, as soon as the moon goes into Cancer, it hits a square from Saturn. As we progress through the afternoon, the moon will also go through a square from Neptune. Now, the square from Saturn is going to be exact between 11:30 and 1:30. The square from Neptune will be exact from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So some people could hit something really fast, have some type of judgment, have some type of direction, have some type of new information, have some type of order from a new person in a position of power, a new boss, a new authority figure that just hits us the wrong way. And it's like by the afternoon, we're super confused. One, why they said what they said, how they said it, why it hit us so hard. And it's like we go through the afternoon feeling a little confused, a little dumbstruck, clouded. And the harshness can be so harsh that it's like, I can't even do this today. You can try to do something, but then it's like as the day progresses, you just start to disconnect and be like, I can't type. I can't write. I shouldn't be driving. I don't need to be in charge of heavy equipment. I'm done for the day. And that can be a flooding sense of sensation that continues throughout the afternoon, because again, some part of us, whenever we turned that corner, when the moon changed signs, and then we had that immediate vibration that we were not anticipating, it triggered an emotion that we were not anticipating. And it's not very expected. For some people, it will be fine. It will be direction, and it will feel like we're getting so much support, and it will be amazing, and it'll feel like a flurry of inspiration. But for other people, it is going to be like, I don't know why you took that tone with me, and I don't know who the hell you think you are taking that tone with me. And we have a hard time throughout the rest of the afternoon trying to wrap our head around that freaking tone. Whatever got said, whatever it is. Now, after the square from Neptune, it's just the moon in Cancer. It's just that either nurture the thing that we need to nurture and take care of, or it is that the emotional bubbling of something that we need to process. Some people will not be able to emotionally process the things that have happened over the course of the last week until the moon does go into Cancer. And it's like something finally sits still, especially Wednesday evening and Thursday, all throughout the day. It's like something finally sits still long enough for like the reality to set in. And that again speaks to both Wednesday and Thursday. It's going to be really interesting because there's not a whole lot going on, literally not until the evening time. And for what the one transit that we're going to have, it's not even going to be on Thursday. It's actually going to be on Wednesday. And that's going to be the Mercury Cazimi. But all day on Thursday, we have the moon in Cancer. We want things to be a little bit softer. We are dealing with something in our emotions. We want to just be gentle. We just want to be a little bit more indulgent, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more soothed. We are nurturing some things. We're trying to put something into motion. But all day, we're building to a Mercury Cazimi that is not going to go exact until 11:20 p.m. Central Standard Time. So again, for some people, this is actually going to happen on Friday. But for me, here in Oklahoma, it's going to be on Thursday. Mercury is going to go into the heart of the sun. Now, what I said before is that based off of some of that new arrival of information, some of the new things that need to come through, over the course of the week, especially through the new moon, it's going to lead to some additional debuts, showcasing, revealing information. Anytime Mercury comes into the heart of the sun, and in this case, it is a very empowered Mercury because Mercury is in its own home sign. This is the news. This is the information. This is the topics. This is the verdicts. This is the situation. Now, for some people, whatever gets revealed, whatever gets discovered, whatever comes to light, whatever gets debuted over the course of Thursday and Friday, it can spark, whatever, an emotional reaction because, again, the moon is in Cancer. It can also lead to a lot more of the vibration as to how things are going to continue going through the weekend and setting the stage for what we start to deal with when we go into June. But again, there's something coming to light. There is something getting revealed. For some people, it will be on Thursday. The entire day on Thursday, we are moving into a Mercury Cazimi. But the human effect is for some people, the revealing of whatever it is might not actually be seen until Friday. So I want people to be very aware that either day is going to have some kind of news, some type of information, something coming to light that was not previously known, that was not previously seen. For some people, it will be good. For other people, it is going to be, again, something that sparks emotions because the moon being in Cancer. Okay. Now, as we go through the day on the 30th, the moon is going to be in Cancer for the majority of the day until the afternoon. So we have a lot of lunar transits around the moon all throughout the day, but we are still in the Mercury Cazimi energy that was exact on Thursday night. So part of the clarity can actually come through in the transits as we go through the day on Friday between 2:30 and 5 a.m. I gave a little bit of a bigger window here. Venus is going to square the moon. So here I got 23 degrees, 21 minutes of Venus in Aries. Here is the moon, 23:13. Now, Venus and the moon, they vibe. They do very, very well. But this is a very motivated Venus. This is a very driven Venus. This is a very active Venus. This is Xena warrior princess Venus. Some of the direction can be motivating. Some of the direction can be helpful. Some of the direction can feel a little judgmental, just to be clear. But there is something in this vibration that is like a boosting. And I do feel like it's almost like a boost in confidence for some people, but there is a boosting that's starting to take shape here. Now, as the day progresses, between 6:30 and 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, got this now at 7:30, Chiron is going to square the moon. Now, over the course of the weekend, Venus and Chiron are actually going to reach a conjunction. So part of this energy of Friday morning can be like directions towards a solution and knowing where the benefit of the solution is going to be or where a new wound is going to appear. Part of this emotional energy as we go through the overnight hours of Thursday into Friday can trigger something over the course of the weekend. How big or small that is going to be different for everybody. But there's something taking shape between those two that we get the imprint of it Friday morning. Okay. Between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I'm going to get this now, is 12:30, Uranus is going to sextile the moon. Uranus is in the higher authority. Now, sextiles are not a heavy thing, but Uranus is in Venus' sign, so this can be a carryover for some of the direction that Venus square the moon did in the morning time. And having something excited or unexpected or having unexpected support that allows for that action to continue, allows for that solution to continue. Unexpected, this can be as simple as like doing the research of something and finding something that unexpectedly supports the outcome, that type of thing. There can be a little bit of excitement throughout the afternoon just because of this Uranus part of the vibration. Now, after Uranus and the moon sextile, the moon is going to go void until 3:17 p.m. So now I got this at 3:30, and the moon is going to go into Leo. Now, once the moon goes into Leo, the vibration changes. There's so much now in the masculine energy that it can't be easy for someone to sit still. And this is also going to feed off of whatever has kind of presented itself throughout the week, whatever presented itself in the new moon, whatever it presented itself in that Mercury Cazimi, because the sun was the other half of that Mercury Cazimi. The new information, the new topics, the new vibration is now going to be shed into light in a different way. It is now putting something into motion. It is now feeding the ego for some, empowering certain people in other ways, but it is bringing something deeply into light over the course of the weekend once the moon goes into Leo. And again, that's going to start Friday afternoon. As soon as the moon goes into Leo, it's going to start its transits. So, first things first, between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m., I got it now at 3:30, Saturn is going to hit a trine to the moon. Trines are triangles. This is fire to fire, passion to passion, desire to desire. But this is a new Saturn. This passion, this direction, this frustration, this ferocity, whatever this is, sets some things in motion. And again, a lot of this is new vibration. Saturn is going to hit a trine between 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. This newness can come from an authority figure. It can come from a boss. It can come from an elder. It can be about an elder. And whatever we're dealing with our elders is what's setting something into motion. But the moon is now in Leo, which is a fixed fire sign. So it's very likely the new of Saturn and Aries is going to have an immediate long-term effect, even if we don't realize it at the moment, with the moon in Leo. Now, keeping this going. Between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m., so I'm going to bump this now to 6:30, Neptune is going to hit a trine to the moon. Neptune's energy is really interesting because sometimes it is the inspiration, it is the nostalgia, it's the fun of something. It can take something, very, very mundane and make it feel magical. But on other instances, it can be the lies, the fraud, the deception. Sometimes Neptune has to do with, again, medicines and symptoms that are not so clear. Neptune's vibration can be something very, very clouded and unclear, following the direction of the elder, or in this case, that leads to something being addressed and face forward that we weren't anticipating. Some of us, let's go for an example, just a very mundane example. We get a call in the afternoon. Hey, you want to go to the movies tonight? You want to go hang out tonight? You want to do something tonight? Absolutely. We haven't done this in forever. Let's go. We get the approval. We get something set up for someone to take care of grandma or grandpa. Easy stuff. Neptune's trine to the moon, like we're very, very idealized in regards to we're going to do something that captures our imagination, something very, very mundane that can be a spectacle. Let's go to the movies. Let's go to the show. Let's go to the rodeo. Let's go to the circus. Let's go somewhere. And then as the evening progresses, between 8:30 and 10:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I got this now at 9:30, the moon is going to hit an opposition to Pluto. This is the first opposition that we have dealt with in a little while. But there's something different this time. I meditated on this for a while last night when I was writing my notes. The moon hitting the opposition to Pluto feels like we've got all this new stuff going on. We have all this energy going on. We've got all these new things, and we're riding high. We're vibing high with the new. We go out to celebrate. We go to the movies. We go do something. And then we run into someone from the past that can be very, very triggering. And that is the moon's opposition to Pluto. We turn the corner, we go somewhere, and we see someone that can either, one, instigate old wounds and old triggers. Two, is from our past, but it's not that person might not be the heaviest, but they still bring up those old emotions because it's like your ex-boyfriend's best friend. The one that knew all the drama but didn't tell you, so you still got a stink in your gut about it, that type of thing. You turn the corner and you see something or someone that triggers an insecurity, triggers a frustration, triggers something. That's the negative sense. In other ways, we see something that instigates fear, that can still be negative, a little bit different though. There can be the awareness of loss or death, Pluto. Plumbing issue, Pluto. I'm going to start bringing it up more and more now because I usually ignore plumbing issues, but now it's become way too dominant. Or, you run into someone that instigates change, or you see how someone has changed or transformed. And that's the more positive Phoenix vibration of Pluto. be aware that we can go either way. It really just kind of comes down to what you're doing and where you're at whenever it comes to Friday night. Okay. That is felt again the most exact between 8:30 and 10:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And after the opposition to Pluto, there ain't nothing going on. We're getting into the 31st. We're getting into Saturday. Now, whenever it comes to Saturday, Saturday is not hectic. Saturday is not crazy. In fact, most of the transits are going to happen early in the morning. We've got the sun sextile to the moon. Now, this is going to be felt the most exact between 8:30 and 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So I got this now at 9:30. Here's the sun, 10 degrees, 23 minutes. Here's the moon, 10 degrees, 15. This is not heavy. In fact, it is very uplifting. It's very understanding. It's a little exciting. It's wanting to do something fun, something that perks up our spirit, something that perks up the mood. This is going out and going to the thrift shops. It's going out with your friend. It's going out for coffee. It's going out for brunch. It's not super heavy. Boost the mood, boost the confidence. I really want to speak with confidence because it is the moon in Leo. All of the recent changes and conversations that it's coming through, like it's just being in that vibration of other people just goes, oh my God, it makes me just feel so good. It just solidifies so much. I love spending time with you. Every time we hang out, it always gives me a boost. I'm so grateful for you. That type of vibration, not super heavy. As the afternoon continues between 12:30 and 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, so I got this now at 1:30, Mercury is also going to sextile the moon. Now, this is interesting only because of what has happened in Mercury signs this week. Mercury did just enter Gemini. We had the new moon in Gemini. We had a Mercury Cazimi in Gemini. Some of the new information, the new conversations, the new commitments, the new contracts, the new news of the week, the gossip of the week, the things that have been said, the things that have been communicated, the things that have been brought to the surface can also be spoken about right here. And this can just be an extension of the news, giving more of the gossip, giving more of the information, giving your flyers out and your business cards out to more people. This is not crazy. Some people, it might be like we're traveling somewhere real quick. We're going to look at something real quick with the idea that it can be something later on, or it gives just some additional opinions and things to think about. Not heavy energy. I want everybody to enjoy Saturday because the moon in Leo on May 31st, it feels amazing. And these are the only two transits to Saturday, the sextiles between the sun and Mercury. So whenever it comes to the rest of the day, there's not a whole lot having to go on. It really doesn't start to pick up or change until we get into the 1st of June. Now, whenever we go into Sunday, the first thing that is going to happen, it's in the overnight hours between 4:30 and 6:30 a.m. So I got this now at 5:30. The moon is going to hit a conjunction to Mars. That can be disruptive. That can lead to tension. That can be frustration. This can also be, because it is so early in the morning, it's like a meeting that requires action. We're going to go run the marathon. I'm thinking of stuff that we do early in the morning. We're going to get up early so that way we can build something. That's very moon Mars stuff, by the way. Considering when the moon and the Mars hit their conjunction, we are also going through other things in Mars's sign throughout the day. I'm more likely to believe a commitment that has either disruption to follow in the negative sense or actions to follow more in the positive sense. So the disruptions, like leading to us understanding like words and wounds throughout the day, and I'll speak to that as we continue. The positive sense would be like the action in the building, and I'll speak to that kind of example too, because again, of what we've got going on in Mars's sign. Now, the moon conjunction to Mercury, the moon's conjunction to Mars is between 4:30 and 6:30 a.m. But as the day progresses, we're going into the full conjunction between Chiron and Venus. And I've already kind of hinted about this a few days ago. This conjunction is going to go exact over the course of Sunday. And this can be the blessing, this can be the solution, but this can also be the discovery of a heartfelt wound. And now we're going to get into the afternoon. Now, the Venus Chiron conjunction, it is the most exact between 3:06 and 3:30 p.m. So I literally got this at 3:30. But in the middle of this Chiron Venus conjunction, The moon is also going to go through a trine with both of them. Now, that is actually the most exact between 1 and 3 p.m. But considering all of this is happening simultaneously, I'm giving a bigger window of 1 to 4 p.m. Throughout the afternoon, if we had a meeting, a commitment of action in the morning, we're getting up early because we're going to build something with the idea that this building is going to be a solution and it needs to be pretty. It needs to be usable. It needs to be functional. We're going to build a ramp for grandpa. Very, very easy idea. We need to build a ramp to the front door to make sure we can get the wheelchair in. So this is what I mean by something that is functional, beautiful, and a solution. But it requires action. And whenever Mars is not at war, he is a builder. So we go through the idea of like an early morning conception, an early morning meeting with the idea of like the build throughout the day offers a solution for other people. When the moon hits the conjunction to Mars in the morning time, it is something disruptive that as the day progresses, there can be the discovery of the Venusian wound, a new heartfelt wound. Because again, Venus is hitting a conjunction to Chiron. Now, what led us to this could literally speak back to whatever was going on back between like Thursday and Friday. During the Mercury Cazimi, whenever both Chiron and Venus hit the square to the moon. Some of us made a commitment during those days to do what we're doing on Sunday, with the idea that it's meant to be a solution, not something towards a wound. It really kind of comes down to whatever has kind of put us to this moment, because this can be like a really great day where people are coming together, taking some type of action to build something that offers a solution, just as much as it can be a morning disruption, a very disrupting phone call that leads to the creation of the new wound or the need to care for a new wound, Venus's conjunction to Chiron. As we get into the afternoon, we're going to have a better idea as to what this looks like, but it really is a shape of the entire day of June 1st. Okay. Now, as we continue going into the evening time between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m., so when we get this to 6:30, we got two things happening simultaneously. Uranus is going to square the moon. And what's interesting about Uranus is Uranus is leaving shadow. Uranus is now going to be in new areas of the sky that he hasn't been in before. Jupiter is also going to sextile the moon. So we have two other vibrations, two other directions, two other entities pushing a topic, sending unexpected information, yet at the same time, unexpected support. Uranus is the unexpected, the exciting part of the vibration, but Uranus is also being hosted by Venus. Venus in that conjunction to Chiron. Some people are going to get the unexpected call in the evening time that something happened in the morning. There was an accident in the morning. There was a disruption in the morning. Some people are going to be posting on social media in the evening time. We got together and we built this great ramp for grandpa. And then as soon as everybody sees it on social media, Uranus square the moon. The outpouring of the support and the abundance. Or if we had something come through and we put up like a GoFundMe type of thing, the outpouring of the abundance and the support, that's the Jupiter part of this vibration. And that really speaks to part of the evening time. So for some people, it's going to be very exciting. For other people, it is going to be very unexpected, but it also has some additional level of support given that Jupiter is involved. Now, this is a simultaneous vibration. It is the most exact between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m., but it really encompasses the rest of the night because after the moon goes through this aspect, the moon is going to go void until 10:01 p.m. And that's when the moon is going to go into Virgo. Now, I'm not going to talk about the moon in Virgo. That is going to be next week. That is next month. That's June. So I'm not going to get stuck on that. But I feel like there's a lot of new information all throughout the week that is going to set the stage and the focus and the topics for what we deal with in June. And the moon in Virgo is going to represent that. But that is the very end of last week or next week, this week, setting the stage for the new month, that first week in the new month. So I'm not going to get stuck on that. all of the week that we're going through, this last full week of May, is bringing topics and information and certain discussions and certain gossip and certain things to the forefront. It is going to be loud. I mean that with every ounce of my body. It is going to be loud and noisy and boisterous. And over the course of the last few months, if you've been dealing with negative things, if you've been dealing with legal matters, and that is a part of the judgment based off of Saturn's arrival into Aries, that's not going to be easy. The louder people get, the more opinions that come through, and the level of judgment a lot of people are going to feel. But for other people, it has again had to do with that new possibility, the new adventure, the new business, that new endeavor, the new adventure that we're going into. And in that regard, we want things to be loud. We want things to be said. We want people being a sounding board. You want to have the newsboy on every corner on your behalf. Hear ye, hear ye. The business opens on Monday. We're going to open on Monday. This is what we're going to do. This is the next part of the change. Come out and see us. You got to come out. And that'll be a good thing. It's going to lead to a very busy vibration, noisy vibration throughout the most of June. Because it's going to get loud and it's going to get noisy in June. And it's going to be busy in June. We need the busy. We need something to finally start moving again. We need to feel like the new can finally happen now. There's so much of where we've been in the past that it didn't go anywhere. It hasn't been doing anything. And that can be annoying and that can be frustrating. But I feel like this week is a lot of loud and announcements and the news and the vibrations and the final acts and the final actions to get things going. And some of us, we're going to be talking about it with a bunch of people over and over again. Yeah. Loud. Announcement. An invite. Communication. Over and over again. We need that word of mouth. We need that blast of information. A lot of us do. Others, you're going to hate it. You're going to hate what people are saying about you. You're going to hate the conversations that are being had. You're going to hate the opinions. And it is going to really drive something into shape. And this week, the news, the announcements, the communication, the hear ye's that are going to come through are literally going to set the stage of all that is going to happen in the month of June, which is the next phase of our new normal. And I've got a way to describe that. I'm going to save that for the month ahead forecast. But we're getting into something. We're sinking into something. Certain things are starting to rise and surround us. And so much of this week is a part of that energy, of getting accustomed, of getting acquainted. But now it's not just us getting accustomed, it's getting other people accustomed to our ideas, our shift in information, our shift in the vibration, our news, just as well as us getting attention from them, getting accustomed to them, learning about them. And for a lot of people, the them is not necessarily always old people. It can still be some. We didn't lose everybody. There are plenty of us that we still got our best friend. And they're still along for the ride and they're still making steps with us and they're still a part of the emotion and the commotion. But there is some part of it that also speaks to those extra rounds of new connections in this first wave and first phase of the new beginning. That's a very loaded statement that encompasses way more than one conversation to make sense. But all in all, I like this week. I like the noise. I like Gemini season. I like communication is a good thing. But if you're someone that doesn't like communication, you don't like all the news, you don't like all the voicing, minds can be busy. A lot of ideas being shed and spread. A lot of things being voiced and brought forward for other people to see and to know. And that's where we're at in a lot of ways. It's pushing a whole different news and vibration forward. And again, it's not a bad thing. Enjoy this final week of May. Shed light, spread the news. What are you excited for? What are you working on? What new thing do you have going on? Because that's a lot of where we're at. And I would love to hear it in the comments. Okay. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Remember, again, the BOGO special that is going on throughout all of Gemini season. Go to the website, book it underneath that BOGO area. I will talk to everybody very, very soon. Subscribe.